Story Chapter 1: The Arrival. In the whirlwind of chaos that was Pierce City, where life's pace was dictated by relentless pressures and pennies were mercilessly pinched, two souls occupied a tiny crevice in the urban sprawl, like barnacles clinging to a forgotten hull. Their habitat was a two-room apartment with walls so thin they whispered neighborhood secrets. The outside world intruded through the constant clamor of buzzing neon lights and the screech of trolley wheels battling slick, rain-washed tracks. Here, Jake and Lena lived another day, each moment bringing them closer to the precipice of insolvency. Jake, a lanky figure whose shirts never quite fit, wrestled on the day shift at a local cafe. Lena, often ensconced in an oversized hoodie, hustled as a freelance graphic designer for clients who always paid late. It was a fragile truce in the battle for survival. But Lena's laugh could often be heard echoing against the clamor of the stormy metropolis, softening the sting of another bill past due or another opportunity lost. That evening, as the rain pounded like an incessant drummer against their window, the city outside seemed an endless gray sea. The poorly lit room smelled faintly of coffee and the spicy noodles Jake had whipped up as the two roommates plodded through the motions of another stormy night. It was a world swallowed by routine until an unprecedented knock at the door interrupted the monotony. Lena, startled from her screen, exchanged a puzzled look with Jake. Visitors weren't just rare, they were unheard of. Their curiosity dragging them to their feet, they approached the door with cautious apprehension. When they opened it, a tall figure cloaked in a trench coat appeared, rivulets of rain racing down the slick material. His face was shadowed under a wide-brimmed hat, but the gleam in his eyes was unmistakable, bright and intoxicating as city lights at midnight. Jake, driven by a blend of apprehension and intrigue, cleared his throat. "Can we help you?" His voice was steadier than he felt, slicing through the sound of the rain. The stranger replied in a voice as smooth as silk, "I have a rather unusual proposal. Might I come in?" They hesitated. Instinct screamed no, but curiosity whispered yes. Against better judgment, they stepped aside, allowing the stranger sanctuary from the deluge. His presence electrified the air, saturating the room with an aura that was as magnetic as it was unnerving. "I understand you might find this request unorthodox," the man began, casting a glance around the threadbare apartment. "But I'm in need of a place to store a package, temporarily. Of course, you will be compensated handsomely for your discretion." Jake and Lena exchanged a glance, words tumbling silently between them. Desperation wove through their thoughts. The debt collector's shadow loomed large in their minds. Against the hum of skepticism, Lena found her voice first. "What kind of package?" "Story." The stranger chuckled softly, reaching into his coat. From its depths he produced an envelope, and in a fluid motion, placed it on their wobbly coffee table. "Nothing dangerous, just something I need to keep out of sight for a little while. You'll find the arrangement quite profitable." The envelope, thick and promising, whispered tales of liberation from financial chains. Despite the apprehension twisting in their bellies, the allure was undeniable. They nodded, a silent pact forged in the dim light, each choosing to ignore the thud of their racing hearts. As the stranger left, a new energy crackled in the air, pregnant with possibilities. Jake looked at Lena, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "This could be our break. We just have to trust it." The rain continued unabated, washing over the city like an endless tide, erasing footprints and uncertainties alike. In the midst of its relentless drumming, Jake and Lena embarked upon a path fraught with mystery, inadvertently tying themselves to a future that promised anything but ordinariness. Chapter 2: An Unlikely Scheme. In the dim light leaking from the street lamps outside, Jake and Lena tore open the thick envelope, their breaths caught in a tangle of hope and fear. The sight of crisp bills shuffled within felt surreal, each a promise of delayed eviction and a temporary balm to their fiscal wounds. "What do you think that package is?" Lena asked, curiosity in her eyes. The slim figure of their visitor had vanished, leaving only a phantom presence that clung to their thoughts. The decision, once made, transformed their weary minds into restless whirlpools of speculation. At first, it was idle chatter woven with uncertainty, until Lena's eyes twinkled with the stirrings of an idea, a jest painted with the colors of absurdity. "We could list our place as a corpse storage facility on the dark web, she joked, a smirk pulling at the corners of her lips. Jake snorted, imagining the absurdity. Right. We could store wax bodies for would-be filmmakers, he laughed, but underneath, something dared to take the jest seriously. As the evening wore on, the joke crystallized into something more substantial. Desperation often turned whimsy into practicality. The next day, with rain still casting its muted veil over the city, Lena dived into the labyrinthine depths of the internet. She navigated shadowy forums tucked away from the law's prying eyes, places where anonymity reigned and unspeakable propositions thrived. Her fingers danced over the keyboard, crafting a message that walked the line between intrigue and farce. Secure storage for your unconventional needs. Discretion guaranteed. The world beyond their window droned on, unaware of the extraordinary chapter unfolding within their tiny apartment. Hours turned into days, the posting lying dormant, almost forgotten amidst half-hearted gulps of takeaway and strained attempts to decipher the stranger's rationale. Story. Then, a response. A flicker on Lena's screen lit up the room like a spark in the dark. The message was terse and cryptic, yet it opened a floodgate of curiosity. An address, a time, and a cryptic note. Maxwell, collector. Chapter 3. Art of the Eccentric. In the depths of an abandoned warehouse district, Jake and Lena found themselves meeting Maxwell, whose appearance was as eclectic as the life-size taxidermy he apparently curated. The man, draped in a velvet cape for reasons known only to him, spoke with the kind of unhinged zeal that matched his eccentric aura. Wax replicas, huh? Maxwell grinned, reminding them more of an excited child than a grown man. Good choice. Very avant-garde. The line between life and art, isn't it just wonderful? Each sentence hung in the air, carrying a whiff of theatricality spiced with genuine passion. Maxwell's arrangement was simple. They acquired and safely stored his prized sculptures when exhibit space ran dry. In return, each waxen addition to their apartment brought another envelope, each thicker than the last. Word, it seemed, traveled swiftly, rippling through niches of those interested in such unusual services. One unlikely deal spun into another, and soon their apartment morphed into an outlandishly eclectic collection. A wax figure of a Victorian lady in eternal repose, a replica criminal from some bygone era, caught mid-crime, all accumulating dust in unused corners, except when content creators or avant-garde enthusiasts moonlighting as aesthetes occasionally showed up for clandestine film shoots. Yet with each new client, the stakes rose. The anonymous figures who drifted in and out commanded fear and fascination in equal measure. Were these all pranksters at heart, eager to push boundaries? Or did some visitors' intentions brush up against more clandestine, perhaps sinister backgrounds? Chapter 4. Tethered to Shadows. The lines between reality and their initial assumptions blurred as inquiries rolled in with a rhythm unsettling in its predictability. Some requests melted into jest, disarming with their absurdity, offers to hide mannequins dressed as celebrities for parties no one would remember. Yet, as the absurdity continued, threads of danger wove themselves into the tapestry of curiosity. A client who refused to sign their messages arrived one night, leaving behind only a wax figure that evoked an eerily real aura, perhaps too lifelike. As the person vanished back into the city night, Lena's unease mounted. It wasn't the first time she'd questioned the morality, and now legality, of their venture. It had become a constant companion to the financial gain. With midnight oil burning low, the seeds of doubt stirred in Jake too. We need to find a way out, Lena. This could spiral out beyond what we can handle, he confessed as they shared a weary meal, his voice heavy with the weight of an impending decision. Story. Their resolve found a catalyst one morning, in the form of a message more like a code than a request. Unlike the others, it bore a name significant enough to echo in recent news, an eccentric collector rumored to dabble in trafficking contraband. Without another thought, they knew. They had to extricate themselves before their labyrinth of choices led them deeper into uncharted and dangerous waters. Yet, as fate would have it, their untimely courage coincided with an unexpected discovery, a hidden cache within one of the waxen figures, containing more than artistic flair, rare diamonds wrapped in inconspicuous fabric, stealing breath and replacing it with the chill of realization. Chapter 5. Reckoning and Redemption. Confronted with the possibilities of their revelation, Jake and Lena found themselves standing at a crossroads, a choice between self-preservation and social responsibility. Their apartment, once a sanctuary, now felt suffocating, filled with artifacts of curiosity turned ominous. Fear turned to resolve as the weight of their discovery pressed upon them. With the shadow of legality looming, they realized they had unwittingly become part of something far larger and more dangerous than whimsical dark web antics. Determined to set things right, they crafted a plan to dismantle their operation as quietly as they had built it. However, they knew they couldn't just walk away with such a significant find. Contacting the authorities was daunting, but the alternative, turning a blind eye to crime, was a burden too heavy to carry. Gathering their courage, they opted for anonymous communication to the police, providing detailed information about their recent clients, the location of the diamonds, and the repurposed apartment without implicating themselves. It was a gamble, a leap from the frying pan into a storm of uncertainty, but it was necessary. The days that followed were tense, their nerves frayed at every siren echoing through the streets, every unexpected call. They watched from the shadows as investigators swept through, piecing together the story Jake and Lena had laid bare. The relief of legality breaking through the surface tension of their predicament was palpable. Chapter 6: New Beginnings. In the unraveling aftermath, Jake and Lena packed the remnants of their peculiar venture with mixed emotions. They had danced with the macabre, tasted the alternating flavors of fear and fortune, and emerged from the shadows with stories etched in their memories. The city moved on, as cities do, swallowing follies and fortunes alike into the seamless tapestry of urban life. Their escapade left them with its own kind of currency. Knowledge of the razor's edge they had traversed and the comforting solidity of resolved action over moral ambiguity. Jake, now invigorated with experience beyond his years, pursued a full-time position at the cafe, finding comfort in routine and the genuine smiles of regulars. Lena channeled her creative energy into artwork inspired by their journey, a cathartic blend of the eerie and enchanting, capturing attention in ways her designs never had before. Story, their bond, forged in the crucible of shared transgressions and triumphs, grew stronger as they moved forward, stepping past shadows into the light of newfound futures. Financial stability came, not as a windfall, but as a slow, steady growth spurred by tenacity and talent. The peculiar chapter called Dead End Ventures became a tale they could share, eventually, with laughter and warmth. As the metropolis continued its ceaseless pace, Jake and Lena learned to meet each day with a sense of wonder and adventure, eager for opportunities wrought by honest endeavor. And tucked away in quiet moments, they would recall their unlikely venture, a testament to the lengths desperation could drive and the power of finding one's path back to integrity. In the ebb and flow of their urban sea, they were no longer mere barnacles clinging to existence. They were navigators, charting courses through the unpredictable waters of life, forever changed by the storm they had weathered together.